Bro, why are you standing in the AoEs? Like, come on, I know you're a tank and everything, but, like, you can pull them right here. Literally, like, 10 feet away from where you're standing. And no AoE will hit you. Or is there a safe spot over there, too? If there's a safe spot over there, too, then objection withdrawn, but it's still kind of stupid. Okay, yeah. There is a safe spot over there. In that case, objection withdrawn, but, like I said, it's still kind of stupid. Okay, now time for the boss that gave us the first iteration of larboard starboard mechanics. Technically not the first, but it's the first time they were named larboard starboard. Although I think in this they are referred to as lar and star. Oh no, it's port and star. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's port and star and fore and aft. They started using for whatever reason, they started using nautical terms a whole bunch in Stormblood. Fore and aft. And people lost their shit over it. It was very funny to watch. Nobody understood what the terms were supposed to be, what they meant, why they were there. None of it. Well, you're dead. Well, not dead, but... Fore and aft... Another fore and aft. Like the little history notes give about the game. Yeah, it's a habit. Let me actually sprint here so I can come down, grab this coffer, and see if he's gonna keep pulling. Oh, no, he can't pull here. Yeah, it's not. This one isn't the big pull. The next one is the big pull. Oh boy. There we go. We're fine. Okay, he's doing the big pull here. Throw XCOG at him. Man, I remember when XCOG used to be awful at the start of Stormblood. It was the worst. Nobody liked XCOG at the start of Stormblood. Oh boy. You were a little late on that, bro. Oh, never mind. You're gonna die. You're gonna die. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead and die. Come on. No! How did you... Oh, you did that to yourself. I see. You used your heal. I wonder how that happened last time, too, because he suddenly gained a big burst of health out of nowhere. And that's what caused him to not trigger Living Dead before. And it happened again just now, and I realize now what it was. He used his heal button. I can't remember what the actual name of it is called. Abyssal Drain, I think it is. Yeah, he used that. That's why he healed up. So he almost killed himself. Because he did that before the Living Dead proc happened. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I was talking about how much XCOG sucked at the start. So yeah, XCOG was awful. Because here's the thing. The way... How did that hit me? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Mr. Slaughter, hit me! Yeah! So the way XCOG works now, when the timer runs out, it triggers the heal automatically. It used to not do that. The way it worked before, you would throw it on someone, and if they got to 50%, then it would trigger the heal. If they didn't get to 50% and the timer ran out, then nothing would happen. It would fall off and the charge would be wasted. There would be no heal. Spirit Wave. I think this hits the farthest player. Yeah, it does. Hit me! Yeah! Okay, let's see how much of this loot I can get. There we go. Got a bunch of loot. Which means I need to... Well, first I need to ditch that, and then I need to use this. And I need to head back to Ul'dah so I can trade in all this stuff for seals. Oh, I'm capped. Okay. Buy some duck bones. Buy a whole bunch of duck bones so I can mount them on my wall. No, not really. I'm buying them because I sell them. Because I get 53k every time I do that. And I don't use the seals for anything else, so... What are duck bones used for? I don't know, let's find out. They are used to make duck broth. Which I believe is a old 2.0 thing. 2.0, 3.0 thing. Because it was a master recipe, so... Yeah. Yeah, it's 50 tier 3 master, so it's an ARR thing. I think I know what this was for. I believe this was for the top tier crafter tools in 2.0. Well, it would have been more like 2.4, 2.5, but ARR. That's probably what this was for. Use seals on Coke and ventures. Coke is very useful if you are doing housing crafting or know somebody that is doing housing crafting, because you need a lot of it. For ventures, the reason I'm not spending it on ventures is because I don't really need more at the moment. So I just, I alternate between buying venture, stocking up on ventures, etherite tickets, dark matter, and duck bones. Those are my usual go-tos. Okay, let's go here real quick. And it was tank in need. So let's hope we get something. Let's see, 81 to 99. Yes, I will definitely accept those because that will let me work towards my achievement. And I can do a couple of rolls here. No 3 lines there. And no 3 lines there. Damn. Perfect. Sky Deep Cenote. Where I have access to all of my abilities. Well, most of my abilities, at least. Not all of them, but most of them. Oh, that's not what I wanted to push. Oh well. Silly level sync, not giving me access to everything on my scholar. I mean, it makes sense why they don't give us our abilities at lower levels, but it's still kind of annoying. Really wish they would come up with a better solution for that. One of the things that I would really like them to do to fix that, or at least something that I think would go a long way to fixing it, is just rebalance the levels that you learn things at. The thing most people want them to do is to just let us have access to our abilities even though we are level synced, or to let us use them at like lower potencies or something. Which, first and foremost, they're not going to do that, ever. It's never going to happen, and it's not hard to understand why. It's quite literally the exact same reason they didn't want to let people queue into dungeons, normal dungeons, with Blue Mage. Because they didn't want to have a scenario where people exclude players because they didn't have a specific spell. And if they just made it so that you had access to all of your abilities, then I can guarantee you what would end up happening is people would queue into like a leveling dungeon like this. Like, let's say you queued into Sastasha. Okay. You are level synced, but you have access to all of your abilities. Everybody else is level 15. Now, the correct thing to do would be to just go through the dungeon anyway, but I can guarantee you that some people would see that and immediately leave. Rip Ninja. And as for the same abilities, but at a lower potency, I'm not completely sure with how the game is programmed. Yada yada 1.0 spaghetti code, yada yada. But I think if they were to do that, they would have to put in a separate version of the ability for every potency they wanted to have it at. And would have to add all of those different versions of the abilities. And my reason for suspecting that is because when they've changed abilities in the past, sometimes what has happened is they have removed the old version of an ability altogether and added the new version of the ability. Doesn't happen often, but it has happened with extreme changes. And I'm wondering if that's what they would have to do. It's either that, or they would have to make potency upgrades as traits and just add a buttload of traits. But of course, that also doesn't address the other issue that would pop up, is how quickly the old content would die. Because I specifically remember in Endwalker, wasn't even past the first raid tier if I remember right, but Endwalker has the final trial as Endsinger, which has the whole bit with the scions praying and everything like that. It's a neat story moment. Well, it wasn't even past the first raid tier that player DPS was so high that groups were skipping it entirely. So a lot of new players didn't get to see that. Now, me personally, I'm indifferent because while it was a cool story moment, like, it's not like, it wasn't so hugely important to the story that I felt the story was lesser for not seeing it. So it didn't really bother me too much, but I could see where people were coming from, saying how that was kind of lame that people would miss it because DPS was so high that people would skip it. Picture that problem multiplied by 1,000, and that's roughly what you'd get if we could go into lower level content with higher level abilities. Can't they go back and watch it? Not that one, because it happens in instance. Mid-instance cutscenes like that, that are triggered by fight mechanics, you cannot watch in the Unending Journey. Now, they've fixed it because they added an eye level sync to it, so it's no longer an issue, but for a long time, people were complaining that you'd skip it. Yeah, that's what a lot of people did, was they went in with their own group. And some people, whenever you got it in trial roulette, some people would have like a gentleman's agreement to sandbag a little bit so that you wouldn't skip it for the newer players. That didn't always work out all that well. Because, you know, there's always people like me who don't really give a shit. I don't know if it was talked about very widely. I remember it coming up a couple times on the subreddit. Yeah, my take on cutscenes in dungeons, especially like, or dungeons or alliance raids or whatever, most of the time, I am perfectly okay with waiting. I don't mind waiting for someone to watch a cutscene if it's their first time. But if I, for whatever reason, if I need to, like, actually finish it in a hurry, or if I'm just not in the mood to wait, I'm not gonna wait. I just won't. Because none of those cutscenes are so impactful that they detract from your enjoyment of the game or the instance if you miss them. I would know because I've seen them, and because I've seen cutscenes like them for many, many years. None of them are that special. One of my favorite things to point out every time somebody brings up the idea of waiting for newbies to watch the cutscene, where was that attitude back in the day when MSQ roulette had those long-ass cutscenes that you could skip? Back when those cutscenes were skippable. Where was that attitude then? Why wasn't it such a big deal to let newbies watch the cutscenes back then. And you know, the main difference that they'll point out is, oh, but that's different. Everybody skips the cutscenes, or that's different. Those cutscenes are ridiculously long. And you know what? Fair. They are ridiculously long. However, those cutscenes are far more important to the actual story of the game than any of the other cutscenes in any other instance in the game. Which is why they are completely unskippable now. Small pull, guys. Small pull. Guys, healer friend. I can't keep pulling this dead end over there. It's a wall. I have to small pull here. It's always funny to me how many people just forget about that part of this dungeon. I mean, I can't say I blame them, because this part of the dungeon is pretty forgettable. But, yeah. This is as far as we can go until we kill this pack. Can't remember one dungeon from the next. Yeah, the only reason I do is because I have a very strange nerd brain where I will remember the most minute details of the most inane shit, but also will not remember what I had for breakfast 2 nights ago. And yes, I said nights. I wake up at weird hours sometimes. Yeah, I'm on Central Time. My raid is on Pacific Time. That's why raid isn't going to start until 11 o'clock. Which for them, 9 o'clock, perfectly reasonable. For me, sometimes it gets a little rough. What was really funny about it is they actually thought that I was on Pacific Time. Yeah, they apparently all thought I was on Pacific Time for a while. Until I actually just told them that I think I made a comment at one point that it was like 2 in the morning.